Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to start the first of a short series of videos all about using ink for illustration. I will be going over different techniques and methods of application, but today we're just going to start with the basic tools. So to begin with, what are inks? They're defined as a colored fluid used for writing, drawing, printing, or duplicating, and they come in two main categories, pigments and dyes. Pigment inks are waterproof and permanent, whereas dye inks are water-soluble and not water-resistant. Now, pigment inks are going to be the ones that you're probably most familiar with in terms of using for art. Those are going to be your fine liners, India inks, and acrylic inks. They tend to be smear resistant, archival quality, and they dry really quickly. Now, some of my favorite pigment-based inks are India inks and fine liners. One of my favorite brands for India ink is Dr.Ph.Martin's Bombay India inks. They have an amazing color selection and honestly mix really well. You get really good opacity and saturation from the colors, and I personally find minimal to no graininess when using them. For doing some line work and achieving really large black areas, I also love the Dr.Ph.Martin's Black Star Waterproof India ink. They have it in matte, but I like to use it in HiCarb. I get a nice finish on the ink and it has really great opacity as well. Now, if you're familiar with my work, you know that I'm a sucker for line work, so fine liners and technical pens are an absolute must for me. You can usually buy a pack of fine liners in a variety of different sizes so that you can achieve different line weights with a lot of ease. Now, there's a lot of different brands of fine liners that I haven't tried just yet, but my favorite so far is definitely the Sakura brand Micron pens. Now, I know this is an OG brand amongst artists, but I find that they get the job done, they're affordable, and I always love the way that my work looks when I use them. Another pigment ink staple is the Pentel pocket brush pen. I'm sure you've seen this absolutely everywhere, but it honestly is an amazing tool. It's like everything that you love about working with paintbrushes with none of the responsibility. You can use it for outlines or filling in larger spaces, but it's really amazing for achieving different line variety and giving some character to a piece. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, there are dye-based inks. Dye-based inks are mostly water-soluble and not water-resistant. However, mixing dyes with a carrier such as alcohol can make the dyes more permanent. Some of the main examples of dye-based inks are drawing inks, alcohol markers, stamp pads tend to be dye-based, as well as ballpoint pens and gel pens. Dye-based inks can be great to use for ink washes, but also because they are water soluble and tend to be transparent, you're able to mix dye-based inks to get nice vibrant colors. Now, the dye-based ink that I'm most familiar with is Windsor brand drawing inks. These are actually some of the first inks I ever used in my artwork, and they were really great. As you can see, I'm only down to these two. They're pretty watery in consistency, but they have great color payoff. And I'll share more about how I like to use these in an upcoming video. Now, I do have some Copic markers, but to be completely honest, I haven't done much experimenting with them, but I can say that their color range is amazing and they're an absolute favorite amongst a lot of artists. Some of the more underrated dye-based inks are basic ballpoint pens. I've been seeing more and more artists using them for sketching and for rendering drawings, and I've actually picked up using them a lot more myself. You can achieve a pretty impressive grayscale using them, and because they're so affordable and accessible, I think they're an amazing option when you're just learning to use inks. Gel pens are also considered to be a dye-based ink. A couple of favorites amongst artists are the Uniball Signo white gel pens as well as the Sakura brand GellyRoll pens. A lot of artists like to use these for added details and highlights in their pieces. But gel pens can also just be great for experimentation. For example, I got this pack of gel pens as a gift and they've been really fun to just play around with. I've used them for doing some reference drawing and some experimental work as well. The color variety has been very impressive and the ink comes out nice and smooth with very rich color payoff. Before I wrap this up, I'd like to go over 2 more kinds of tools that I love to use with ink. Now, we've already covered brush pens and fine liners, but regular paintbrushes and dip pens are also great for using with inks. These are the brushes that I got specifically for using with ink, and as you can see, they're very well loved. These are the Windsor Newton brand Cotman series brushes, and they have been amazing. I'm honestly shocked at how well they've held their shapes, and they continue to give me beautiful, even strokes. Now, just a word of caution, the inks can get trapped in the base of the bristles, so you want to make sure you clean them really well after every use. Now, another major tool in the ink world are dip pens. You can generally find them at any art supply store, and you can buy them in starter packs, or you can buy the pieces separately. As you can see, I have 2 different types here. I'm not sure what brand the black one is, but the wooden one is by Speedball, and I got that one in a starter pack with nibs. Drawing nibs, similarly to fine liners, come in different sizes to achieve different line weights and varieties. There's a huge range of styles and sizes available, but 2 of my favorite are sizes 103 and 104 by the brand Speedball. They give me crazy fine lines, and they're amazing for small details. And just as a bonus supply recommendation, I picked up this little pack of inkwells at Sam Flax. It's called the Dinky Dip Set. It comes with 4 plastic cups with lids, and I also got a pack of refills as well. But these are basically just plastic little cups that you can put your India ink into when you're working with dip pens or brushes, and you can just insert them into this little wooden base to keep them nice and secure. Well guys, that's all I've got for you today. In the next video, we'll begin covering techniques and how I like to put these tools to use. Also, I want you all to remember that there are no rules for creative expression. So experiment with your supplies, experiment with your artwork, and just make sure that you have fun with your process. I will leave the information on all the supplies shown in the description below, and if you have any favorite supplies that you would like to share, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!